how she got under that couch. I can tell you with 100% certainty, she did not get under that couch by herself.
Amen.
Okay? We have done tests to see how much weight it would take to lift up that couch, and she just does not have a 16-month or 18-month-old baby, does not have it in her body to lift up that much weight. So, that being said, however, according to the media, that everybody's cooperating with the police. I can tell you that absolutely for sure that is not the case. Everybody, all 4 women have attorneys. We cannot talk to them without going through their attorney. However, there are things in the works with those attorneys that we may have to shed some light on it, but it's going to take time. Okay? That being said, does anybody have any questions? Be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Here's one.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
And can you name those 4 women?
Absolutely. The 4 women that were at that house the 4 grown women that were at that house the day Semaj went missing was Cherie Gordon, Lucretia Crosby, Darlene Crosby, Tamika Robinson. They were all 4 there. Their kids, all their kids were playing and dancing in the yard. Okay? They were all 4 there. Any other questions?
And all 4 aren't cooperating.
All four are not cooperating.
All four lawyers.
have attorneys.
What is it?
Wow. That's not what we've been told.
Right.
Unfortunately,
So I'm so glad you clarified that.
this is the case that I live every day. I take it home with me every
Hold
night.
on. Let's hear him.
Can you reveal the polygraph?
There was a couple polygraphs given, okay? And there was a couple polygraphs that were failed.
Can you repeat that?
There was a couple polygraphs given, and there was a couple polygraphs that were failed. However, a polygraph is not admissible in court.
Right.
All that is can be an investigative tool, and there are some proven facts of a false polygraph. So, that being said, you cannot use that in court. Unfortunately, this is a very, very, very sensitive case. However, that being said, there are 4 women out there. Somebody knows what happened.
Exactly.
And I want justice for Semaj. Here's what, I don't want justice. I want closure. I want one of them 4 women to come up to me, whether it was an accident or whether it was a crying baby that they just tried to hush and say, hey, it was an accident. This is what happened. We freaked out. I mean, people are human. We get scared all the time. This is what happened. So we can get closure for that little baby. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if authorities were told about an outburst that occurred, that Cherie had an outburst and was neglectful of the children?
What kind of an outburst?
In
She
court.
was in court.
Oh, yeah.
You were told that?
I was
And
told
did
that. And actually, yes, I was told that.
I have
In
a,
the beginning?
It was actually the day after that Semaj was found that I was told about this outburst.
Okay, the day after she was found.
I have a question. The most recent Chicago Tribune report refers to Semaj being discovered within 3 hours of her death. That's not accurate?
I knew it.
Okay.
It's not correct.
Was she placed under the couch within any time frame? Was she placed under the couch while she was still alive?
From the information that I have been told to me, that they cannot, with any amount of certainty, that's 100% certainty, say that Semaj was placed under the couch pre or post mortem.
Jesus.
Yes, ma'am.
Before or after she died. They don't know if she was placed under the couch while she was alive or while she was dead. They can't verify that.
What happened, how the child died.
The autopsy,
Yeah.
the coroner, and this is where you get several agencies working together. The coroner's office did an autopsy. It was a very thorough autopsy. I was actually there for the autopsy. They send their findings off to the lab, and the cause of death. The coroner's office has not ruled a cause of death yet. The complete toxicology has not come back on Semaj yet.
I got a question. Why take it so long?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why take it so long?
I
When
tell you what,
when that baby first go to business, I said, that baby went nowhere. I knew that. Since she went over, I said, that baby went nowhere. I knew that already. Somebody hiding something. They know what happened to the baby.
I can tell you.
I went to the funeral. mean, I know the grandmama, and to me, that's what, that baby didn't walk out nowhere.
The reason why I believe that it's taken so long is because in cases like this, you gotta make it right.
Right.
If for something happens and we miss something, when you rush, that's when accidents happen. And I don't mean to sound cold, I don't mean to sound crass, but we're at the point now where nothing we say and or do will bring Semaj Crosby back.
Right.
So what we do is, we take a pause. You take the time out, you start from square one, and you start building. And believe me, nobody wants to get this case solved and get somebody in a jail and be accountable for their actions than I do. I live this every day. So we have to take our time in doing so. Yes, ma'am.
I have another question for you. With the house being burned down,
Yes.
I know that the forensics, can they still pick anything up out of there if you should need anything?
The house is burned down, so any evidence that would have been left there
Yeah.
is gone. However, we searched that house, whenever we found baby Semaj,
Yeah.
we searched the house, when we took the couch out, our CSI team did a complete forensic analysis out of that house. I am confident, personally, this is my case, it lives and dies with me, and nobody cares about it more than I do, that whatever was in that house forensically, forensic evidence was collected and is now in our evidence vault,
You can come
and
in.
we send pieces to the lab.
That's what I mean.
Okay, I have, go ahead. Go ahead.
Did they determine how long she was dead?
No. No, ma'am.
Were the cars, I hope you can know this, were the cars taken into evidence?
Yes. they
Both
were
of them?
searched.
Oh, all of them, okay.
Both of them?
All, was it the, silver Ford Taurus and the, what was that, green?
Saturn.
Saturn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
My question, and I won't belabor you too long, but I was there the night that we were searching. And the very first thing that I asked when I talked to the very first people before 8:00 p.m. when we were searching is, has the house been searched? And I know initially Sheriff's Department was taking this as a missing child, and I understand that. But the first thing that I said at least 5 times to sheriff's deputies, to family, to neighbors is, did you move the furniture? Did you look? And sheriff's deputies, family, and everyone claimed that the house had been flipped upside down. They searched the entire house. They've combed the entire house repeatedly. Did sheriff's office search the home initially?
I cannot answer that question with 100% certainty. However, I can tell you this, that the sheriff deputies that were originally on scene searched the house, okay? There was a group from New Lenox, a search and rescue team from New Lenox of off-duty police officers who are retired. They searched that house.
In addition to?
In
the
addition to. However, nobody I have spoken to since that night tells me they flipped that couch over.
Understandable.
And looking at that couch, ladies and gentlemen, that couch had a flat back and it was very close to the ground. Actually, it was 3 inches off the ground, but looking at it, it looked like it sat on the ground. And it looked like there was no way that that baby would have gotten under that couch. So, and there's people on the couch, because I don't, you were there that night.
I wasn't in the house.
No, there
but
was
yes.
people running everywhere.
There was people running in and out of the
And
house.
there was no reports that the sheriff's department got, that I got, that my sergeant Chris McCleverty got, that put that baby in the house. Everybody said that we talked to, everybody on scene with the baby, including the guy who jumped the car, said everybody was outside of the house dancing, listening to music. So we treated this as either she wandered away or unfortunately somebody snatched her. That house was really never in play. However, they cursory searched the house just in case she would walk back in the house and nobody saw her and she fell asleep.
And my last I'm sorry, go ahead.
It was only until we exhausted every resource we probably had. We had so many helicopters. We had hundreds of searchers looking for her till we said, time out. We got to start from square one. And that's when we went back to the house. And that's when I was there on the initial search. I can tell you, I went to the laundry room and I opened up every bag of clothes that was in there. I flipped over the washer and the dryer. I looked everywhere, and when we were working our way outside of the house, I can tell you I was sitting next to the door with Cherie Gordon's attorney, Neil Patel, was sitting right next to me when CSI flipped over the couch.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Was
No, ma'am.
Okay, another thing,
While she's thinking, I have my last
yes,
question.
Wait, no, I got it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. That house, do you know the condition of that house before it was searched?
I was in that house the night we searched it and we found baby Semaj.
But do you know the condition? Because
Oh, yeah, I know
it
that
is told
condition.
that the house became deplorable because the police
Yeah.
threw trash
Yeah.
or threw everything out.
Yeah.
It was already deplorable right before you took the clothes out the bag.
Right,
Okay.
When they set the piece on the table, they said roaches start flying everywhere.
No, police did that.
No.
No, I'm
The
talking
police
about.
did not.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. They said police did all that. Police did that.
Right.
Somebody
Whenever we
brought it.
search a house, we do not bring roaches into a house.
Okay, that brings me to my last question. There's some information that has surfaced and unconfirmed reports about the condition of Semaj's body when she was found. Can you confirm any of the allegations that there were roaches in her body, that there were abrasions to her face?
I can't confirm it. I was there during the autopsy, and there was an insect bites on her face, yes. And insects taken out of her ears and her nose.
Thank you.
When, did y'all initially like search the car? Because the night when she first came up missing and like some of the neighbors and stuff, whose houses they went to, they was upset about them coming to their house.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people out there was saying, why don't they search cars that night?
Yes, we did.
They searched them
We searched, a courtesy search of both vehicles, the green Saturn and the gray Ford Taurus. We courtesy searched both vehicles for a body. We did not forensically search them to the next day.
the next day. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so basically you saying all four women that you named know of or have knowledge that what happened to Semaj in the house, right?
Somebody. I'm not saying they all do. I'm saying that one out of the four.
You're not just saying just one, you saying all of them know or just
No,
one?
ma'am, I cannot determine, there's no way I can say that. Because if that's the case, if I knew that, we'd be having a different conversation right now.
There's just so many different
It
stories.
is.
Well, I'm glad he's here to clear up any rumors and any
That's why I'm here.
I appreciate
I
that.
felt it's my job to come out because I don't watch the Facebook feeds.
Thank you.
Because there is so much
You should.
BS out there that you get bogged down from the facts.
Absolutely.
Did you ever hear the story about them calling Cherie in the house, when somebody came up missing? Them calling her in the house saying that, one of the kids had took money out of her purse.
Yes, ma'am.
Could you repeat that? So, you know, the wives got that?
It was told that, Carisha and them called Cherie in the house. They said that one of the kids had took money out of her purse. So that's what lured her into the house. And Cherie said when she came back outside, her baby was gone.
And he's confirmed that we've
There's-
heard their
there's
stories.
Time there that's hard to nail down.
Right.
But
right.
there was, and Sheree told me that night, that somebody told her that there was one of the kids
Tamika's son.
got into her purse in the house, so she goes in the house, and she does see her stuff strewn around, and she was putting her stuff back in her
And
purse.
then when she came back out, her baby was gone. That's,
Sometime in there, yes,
Yeah.
yes, but the time is not, I mean, it wasn't like she walks back out, now
Right.
with my baby. There is a huge time gap that we can't get nailed.
Yeah.
Sir,
I was told, I was told the baby was abused before that happened.
I'm sorry,
My
what?
godmama said the baby was abused before that happened. She was being abused.
I can assure you.
Yeah, she was being abused.
Okay, well, I can assure you that when I was at the
An innocent
autopsy,
baby, 16-month-old, that's not right.
I'm just saying, at the autopsy, baby Semaj had absolutely no injuries on her body. Other
Did she
than,
have blood on her?
what's that?
No,
ma'am.
Someone has said she had blood on her.
No, ma'am.
No blood.
No blood to her, there was no external injuries on her body.
So our country come back, there's no drugs, there's nothing in your system.
Why don't we take one last
Yeah.
question from Julia back here? Julia been trying to ask. Take one last question on
I
this.
got all night. I'm here, I got all night.
what was the cause of that?
Yeah, she been trying to ask a question. Julia.
I'm just really curious, I know that there are different things floating around out there. It was, mentioned that the child had been moved and that you had dogs.
and the dogs went from the tree to the window. Do you guys have any evidence that this child was injured in one place and then moved to another?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
We had canines out there that night, the people that are searching, and the dogs, and talking to the handlers now, it's hindsight, now we know where she was at. The dogs were messing around the front, going to the door, but that's where she lived. So her scent would be there. Yes.
So y'all don't know the reason she died? Y'all don't know.
At this point, no. The
The autopsy
autopsy,
is
the
not
complete
complete.
autopsy and toxicology has not come back yet. So I cannot stand here today and give you 100% that, yes, I know how she passed. No, I don't.
That's up
Okay.
to the inquest, that's up to the coroner's office, the
And-
Will County Coroner.
And that's where, and one of the reasons why I'm here, because I understand, I'm just as frustrated as you guys are. That, you know what, I want answers.
If the house was deplorable like they said it was, and Child Protective Services had been called, why were the kids still in her custody? Why?
I've got the answer for that. Because DCFS, and I'm not, they do what they can do. They don't take kids out of dirty homes. And I'm honest, I mean, we could go into
Okay.
4 or 5 more homes.
Yeah, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Hold
It
on.
was more than just dirt.
Well,
So-
let's do this,
I'll-
Amy, this baby over here, I think it's only fair that you take his question,
And then
and
we
this
wrap up.
piece we may have to.
So the couch didn't smash the baby? Like,
I cannot answer that with 100% certainty. I can tell you that the couch was on the baby.
Was the couch cut?
No, the couch was not cut. Here's exactly how it was. The couch was lifted up, the baby was placed under, the couch was laid on the baby. The couch was not shoved through that. There was no cut on the couch.
after that, the couch didn't have legs.
The couch did have legs. They were square blocks, and they were 3 inches off the ground.
So,
She was so small, she was so small that with the weight of the couch, you wouldn't know it. It wouldn't be like a grown person being under the couch where it would hear.
Was she face down or?
His face down her belly. Ma'am.
The leg on the baby.
What's that? No, ma'am.
with that last closing, will you stick around for the rest of this meeting?
And let
We
us
will
state
be-
your name, the media just arrived, but state your name again. Alice, where'd you go? Oh, there she is.
R.J. Austin. Detective R.J. Austin.
She's with the Tribune.
Thank you so much for being here. If you wouldn't mind staying, if someone would like to speak to you in private afterwards, but what you just closed with about DCFS is our next leading point, and Deetra and Leslie, I'll get to you in just a moment, if you wouldn't mind. But the condition of the home, which one of the questions that was asked, and the current condition, the current policies that DCFS operates under does not permit them to remove children from a dirty home, quote unquote, a dirty home. But deplorable, and we all know as common residents, we've read in the newspaper 1,000 times about animals being removed from deplorable conditions and being charged with that. So our next action, besides the renaming of the park, would be to inquire to Senator McGuire, who just happens to be here, if he would, in fact, on our behalf, extend an invitation to the new DCFS director to come to Joliet and meet with us about how we can prevent future Semajes that are out there and truly being fallen through the cracks. So, Senator McGuire, my email is going to say as such, if you wouldn't mind.
I'm Pat McGuire, I'm your state senator, so I represent from Elwood up 53 to Boulder, so obviously that includes Custom Heights and Joliet. And I want to commend you for coming together like this. I'm especially struck by how you're helping out Semaj's siblings and the other kids that lived at that house. So my responsibilities as DCFS as a state department, and I represent you, is to ask questions of DCFS. So the Tuesday after Semaj died, I had the opportunity to, in a Senate committee in the state capitol in Springfield, ask questions of George Sheldon, who was the DCFS inspector at the time, or DCFS director. And essentially I asked him, what are you going to do? And he said, we're going to do a quality assurance review. So this was back on maybe April 29th or 30th when I asked him this. And on May 26th, DCFS released this 20-some page quality assurance review, which describes all the interactions that DCFS had with anyone living at 309 Lewis Road for about over a year-long period. The report, which I imagine a lot of you have read, it ends with lessons learned and recommendations, and there's 9 of them. And of the 9, there's only one that looks